So hello and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how we add cape animations to this model here. As you can see, the model is animated, but it has no cape animations right now, and we want to change that. So first of all, I'm always starting to change the scene to look like more in Warcraft 3 to flat color, and then I'm going to select the whole mesh, right click, object properties, and we're gonna freeze, and we disable show freeze in gray. So then what I always like to do is looking at the mesh first and change the flat color also, and the settings there to edge faces that I can see where the lines go. And I think we're gonna add here a line of cape down there and down here, and we're gonna start with I'm opening up the Neodex manager here. So it's the newest Neodex manager, which is not released yet, but it will be soon. And just want to show you real quick. And now we're gonna select the mesh which we want to add cape animations or hair animations. First we have the cloak here, and we're gonna right click and isolate the selection. And I want to start to creating bones from this point down here. So we're gonna change the viewport to front here, and then I'm going to go to bone tools here under animation bone tools, and then I start to create the bones here, and I'm selecting this point here. It will create our first bone. We make it very small because we need this bone here as start bone for creating the rotating the bone to create a movement. Then we're gonna add the next bone. The next bone should be just a bit longer. Then about the next bone, it should be also a little bit longer than the bone before. The same goes for this bone here. It's gonna make it like here. And then we're gonna start to, now we have two options right now when we're gonna create the next bone. We can make it longer or we can make it shorter than the bone before. And then the next one here, we're gonna make it also a little bit shorter than the bone before. And the last one, we're gonna right click. This is our end bone, we need it. So we created the bone chain here, as you can see. And there is like a thumb of rule which we have to apply for the cape animations to make that the cape is really moving smooth, or rotating smooth better say. Then we need that the chain is longer, or like the bones shouldn't have all the same length. This is not good. Then the cape tool isn't working as well, and that's why I'm making it like the first one is small, then it gets bit longer, and then I can choose, should I make it longer again or should I make it shorter. And I choose right now to make it shorter, and then we go back to the original view here, to the perspective view, and now we're gonna select the bone chain completely and move it back inside the point where we want to rotate the cape up here. And then we're gonna rotate this one here. So as you can see, now the scaling isn't as good as anymore as it was when we had the front view. So we change it to local, rotate it a little bit around, and then I want to open up the bone tool again and go to the bone edit mode. Now we change it from rotate to movement and select the bone here, and instead of the view position, we like to change it to local, so we can select the bone, move it a little bit down. Same goes for this one here, and then same goes for that one. So it fits our mesh a little bit better. And the next thing what we want to do is we want to rotate it inside the cape like this here. So that looks quite alright. And what we also want to change is I like to make the bone chain a little bit bigger. So we change it to 10 here from the width and from the height. So like this. Now it looks much better than before, as you can see. And maybe we move it a little bit more inside. So, and this one rotate a little bit outside, that it's like the half of the bone is inside and the other one is outside. So the next thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy this to the other side by selecting only the first bone, change it to view, then we open up our calculator here, and we're gonna take the x-axis, gonna paste it in 0.2. So we got the this one here, the 9.186 multiplied by 2, and this number is what we need for mirroring the bone. So we're gonna double click on the main bone, selecting everything, and then we're gonna go to the mirror tool. Now as you can see, it will copy the bone chain and mirror it, and then we're gonna paste our number, but we put an x minus before it, so it will copy and mirror our bone chain to the other side. And then the next thing what I would like to do is gonna hide this one, because we want to first create all bone chains, and then we have to search for the hair bones here. Okay. Here, so we have here the hair bones, and I would like to create a chain right here, down there. So we're gonna change it from the front view to the left or right view, and we have to make sure that before we creating the bones that we can see the borders down in the background, because if we don't see them like here, it will run into a bug, and we don't want that. So we have to see the borders down in the background here, and then we're gonna go to the bone tool again. Then we go to create bones, and then we choose that I want to create a bone chain starting here for the first bone, and then to the second bone, then the third one a little bit longer again. Same goes for this one here, and then going down. I think I'm gonna choose to make it a little bit longer, not that much, and then down here. And so that's it. We create our bone chain again with the same rule. This one is the longest, this one, and then it's getting shorter again. And then we're gonna restore our view, that we can see it right now, that we can see the bone. It's inside here, inside the mesh. We could also change it now to wireframe mode, that we can see it better. Then we're selecting everything again, and then we change the wide and high again. I like to take 15 this time. Let's see, 15. So I think that's big enough. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna rename them. So I like to rename them by calling them hair bone, so like this. Then we change the number, yes. And what I also like to change is we want to call it one bone begin and one bone end. So we change the number down, selecting only the hair bone, the first one, begin, and then by open this one up here, and then we're going to end, gonna select this one and call it hair bone end. So then we're gonna unhide the bones here, and then we're gonna select the first one. It's the, from her perspective, is this one, the left cape bone. So we change it to left cape bone left, so, and then we're gonna change it to begin, cape bone left begin, because we need a beginning bone here, and we're gonna change it to end, so, okay, and then we're gonna change it from to the right cape bone right, so we're gonna selecting her right side here, change the name to cape bone right, then same with begin, cape bone right begin, and cape bone right end. So okay, we set this up. Now our cape bone chain is done on the hair bone as well. What I also like to do is I'm gonna like to create a quick select for it. So basically we don't have to select the bone all the time. We can select it down here by selecting the bone, and I always type in for every bone which I do not animate with the cape bone tool, because our first bone is like the bone which gives us control over the cape animation after we're setting it up, and you will see later why. And that's why I'm going to call the hair bone begin. I call it here hair bone movement. It's always what I call it. You can call it what anything you like it. And then I call the second bone is hair bone tool, because I'm always using the tool on the second bone here. And then we're gonna make the same with the cape animations. We're gonna select both cape. That's why we call them cape bone movement. So, and then here the cape bone tool, the second bone, cape bone tool. So, and sometimes we need also just this bone here. That's why we call it cape 6. I just call it cape 6 all the time. I don't know why, but I choose it. So, and now we set it up a quick selection. That means if we are showing our whole model right now here, not in wireframe mode, in flat color mode here, and without edge faces. Oh, it's done, yes. And we want to select now the hair bone, and we can see it properly. We can just go to our hair bone movement. It will select it, or if we want to change it, we want to use the tool, we're gonna do hair bone tool. And if you have made any mistake selecting the wrong bone or anything, or wrote the wrong name in it, you can change it here, manage selection, selection sets, and then you can say I want to remove this bone, I want to rename it with right click. So there you have the full control over it. So we set it like the every bone's up. Now the next thing is we're gonna need to select one bone, and then we go to select similar here, and then we're going to need to change the assign controller from every bone here, from position to one of these 3 here in the Neodex manager. But you have this tool here, where is it here? This controller tools, you have it also in the old Neodex in the animation tool section. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna select one bone, select similar to select all the bones, and I change it all the time to linear here and apply to selection. So every bone right now is set to linear here, everything. That's what we need, that for conversion, that the cape animations is fluent later in Warcraft 3, and not in the 3ds Max itself. And then we want to add the cape bones to our main rig. So we're gonna deselect the whole mesh, that we can only see the bones. And I know right now that the hair bone has to go to the head bone here. That's why we link it to the head bone right now, and the both cape bones go to the main bones here. We have to link it, I think, to the spine here. Yes, to the spine 1. So we're gonna select the cape bones right now, and link it to the spine 1 here. So sometimes if the cape is lower, you have to select it or link it to the pelvis bone, or if it's higher, you have to link it to the spine bone or the chest bone down up there. But for this model, I have to, because the cape is at this position, I have to link it to the spine bone. So next thing is what we're going to do now. I like to add some controllers which allows me to move the cape around in case that the body position is so weird or extreme that the cape, even if you rotate it up, will straight go through any part of mesh from her. So what I'm gonna do is I'm showing it right now one time without my tool, that you can do it by yourself, and then I'm gonna show it with my tool because I created a tool for it to make stuff like this faster. So that means we go and search for the helpers here, and where is it? Nope, I think it's here somewhere. No, it's not here. Here is it. So it's under the helper section here under create, and now you can choose whatever you want. You can create a dummy, or you can also take anything else which you're liking. I'm always choosing a dummy, or later I'm choosing a point helper. I'm not sure where is it. Forces, no, it's not in here. Standard, no. Okay, then we're gonna choose the point helper, the dummy in this case. So, and what I want to do now, I want to add the box here, the dummy helper here, between the first bone of our cape, here, like the first cape bone left begin, and the spine bone which we are linked it to. So first what we should do is we changed it in the Neodex to linear as well, or any of these three other tools which you like to have, but I'm choosing linear, so that the here in the assign controller it's all set to linear, and then I'm going to change to selection, that we unlink select and link option, we disable it, and then we're going to align it to the bone here, and then we say X, Y, Z position, and to the, you can choose now the center of it, that it's really in the center of it, and now it's now we align it exactly at the position of the first bone here. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take the first bone, select it and link it to the box here, and then we're gonna link the box to the spine bone here. So, and then we set up our controller that we can move the bone chain here around, as you can see. So, and I will delete this one here because I will show it one time the way when you don't have the tool, but now I will show it when you have the tool. Because we have tool right now, I can just select the main bones of every chain here, open the Neodex manager again, and then we're gonna create a point here. Click it on here. So as you can see, it's pretty. First, it got implemented in the bone chain correctly between the bones here. And the second thing is, when we're gonna delete it, like or undo it, we can change the size of it here. So, and I think this size is better right now. And the good thing is, when we created it with the tool, the boxes here are already set to linear, and they are point helpers and not dummies. There is not a big difference between those, just that you know it one and see it one time. And when we set these things up, we're gonna select the box and the bone here, click on select similar, that we select everything which we created. And what we have to do now in our Neodex animation tools or in the manager right now is add start and end keys to selected object, and it will create us for every animation a start key and the end key here from each animation in here. And it will also create a pose for the like a key for the T pose, that the cape will stay always in place. So we set it like everything up for the chain, that we can start with animating it. The next step what we have to do is we have to add into the skin modifier our new bone chains which we created. So that's why we go to add, searching for our bones down here under spine, then there is the point helper, and now there is the part which why I renamed one to begin and one to end, because we want just to select the bones between the begin bone and the end bone. Same goes for the other side, and we don't want to select the point helper or the dummy or the first and the last bone, because these bones, like the first bone, is only there for us, not for adding it to the mesh. It's only there for us to control later the cape. And the end bone is also not there for animating. It's just there that the last bone in the not the last bone, like the bone before the chain ends, will get an animation into it. Basically, when we are done with the model, we could delete the last bone if we don't need it. So that's why we're gonna select only the bones here between, edit, so they are now in the chain here, and then we're gonna search for the hair as well. Where is the hair bone? So here is it, and then we're gonna add the bone, the hair bone as well. The hair bones are here, same thing. Between begin and end bone, select and edit. So what we want to change is we want to select the vertices. Then we want to open up the weight tool, and what I always like to change as well is I like to change it that we don't see the envelopes. That's the thing here around that you can select and move around for some reason here. You can scale it up, and I don't like this, so I changed it to show no envelopes, so we can't select it anymore. And then the same thing goes for our cape here. We're gonna go into the cape skin modifier, change it to show no envelopes, then go up to vertices, and we like to open up the weight tool. So let's start with the cape first. So we want to unselect the mesh here from the hair, so that we can only see our cape. And then what I always like to do is I'm gonna selecting the cape bones again, change it to select similar, right click, object properties, and then I like to change it to display as a box. So now we can see them here as box, which made it a lot easier to select everything and see everything. And then I like to change the model to edge faces, sometimes also working in the wireframe mode here. And what we also can do is we can really hide every bone we have beside our bones here, so that we can see the cape bones. And then we select our mesh and start with the skinning process. For example, I like to take this one is our first bone we can select. We can select this part here completely. By holding Control, you can select even more, and adding a 0.5 weight influence to it, because Warcraft 3 has a system, the old one, that you don't have skin weight. Like the skin weight is if the polygon has an influence of a bone, it's always divided by the bone. That means if there's one bone, it's divided by, it's 100%. If there are two bones, it's each 0.5, and go on and go on and go on. So, and I want to select one chain after another here and add it to this one, then the same time to that one here. Same goes here, selecting this one. Then you can see it's a longer bone, so it gets influenced by one. And here is also two bones between again. I'm gonna selecting here and 0.5. Then I'm gonna selecting this one here, one again, and I'm selecting this chain here and 0.5. Oh, I forgot that I should not select this one here. Okay, let's undo it. So, okay, selecting this one here and that one and that one. Same goes for this one here, selecting it and 0.5, and then the last bone, which is not our last bone in the chain, but the last bone we added to the skin modifier, get 1. So, okay. And what we have to also add is, like, we need to add at the same time to both of the bones here. Same goes for this one here and this one. Is that pelvis? There shouldn't be any pelvis influence anymore in this one here. So, and I like to add also 2.5 here and 2.5 there. Then here is 0.5 with no pelvis and no legs, so that means we're gonna select this one here and at the same time to that one here. So, okay, we set it one side up. We can see it by, we can select the bone chain here, this one, and move it a little bit up in the, we have to activate the animation mode here and move it up so we can see it's moving perfectly in this case, but here at this side it does not move. And what we're gonna do now is we want to mirror the pose here by edit envelopes, and then we have to take a look at the view, front view, and we have, and if you set everything correctly up, you should be able now in the mirror mode to add from the left side, paste from left to blue, from left to right, and it should work that we pasted the skin weight over, as you can see. So that means we are done with the cape, or nearly done with the cape. Let's take a look at the middle word to see what happened here. There is a pelvis influence which shouldn't be there, but it should be this one here. So I think we should fix everything. Is there a pelvis influence? Nope. And the next thing what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna remove the 0 weights, that they are gone. And now this is something which I only have right now, but we changed the skin data from the mesh to Warcraft 3. So that means every bone is now changed to Warcraft 3 influence. When I'm taking a look at those two, all are set to 0.25, and yeah, that's it. We've done the cape skinning here. And the next thing is we're gonna do the same with the hair animation, with the hair mesh. So we're selecting the hair, going back here. We're gonna select similar, that we, oh, that's the bone here, select similar. We're gonna delete this one here, right click delete, because we don't need the frame here anymore. The first bone chain is set it up. Then we're gonna select these and hide them because we don't need them for skinning the hair part. And we're gonna look for our hair bones here. Then what I always do is I'm going to go to wireframe mode and selecting the mesh here, and it seems like it's a little bit tricky, but it isn't really. You're gonna just select here, look from all views where it's the best angle, and I think the front view is one of the best angles right now here, and I'm selecting this chain here, this one, this one, this one here, this, take this bone with me, this one, and so, okay. And then I'm added to this one, but at the same time I added to this bone down here. If you have a hard time finding the bone, you can just select it here as well, 0.5. Then we can select the next part here, this one. So add it also to this bone here, and we may have to select this part here as well. So like this, okay. So, and what we have to do also is selecting. It's getting a little bit tricky, but not a big deal. We can fix everything also later in the animation itself. So we're just selecting some random vertices and see if it fits. Good job. That looks kinda good, I guess. And we're gonna selecting the next part here. Let's select everything because it's easier. and add it to this bone here, and then we're gonna selecting that part down here, this, and make sure we're gonna where is the I can see it, so I'm gonna using this one here, and then I'm gonna selecting this part here, add it to this one, and we have the small part here, which is really a small part of bone, which I think I do not include in the right now in the mesh, that it has no influence, but that's not a big deal. So this bone was kind of useless, but doesn't matter. So let's see if we're gonna moving our hair, if we have to fix anything. Yeah, there are some parts which are a little bit bad. Let's select them here and let's see. So it don't has to be perfect, because hair animation is kind of tricky. So, and this one here. Let's see, let's go back here. I selected them here, that means they are between them. Let's edit these here. These are also not into it. So, okay. Let's see. That's way better. Let's select it again and move it even a little bit more up. So as you can see, we have even more bad vertices here. So we're gonna selecting this one, skin modifier, selecting everything, and then I might change it to bone free again. So okay, that looks way better right now, and I think we set it up as good as we can right now. Maybe we have to fix something later, but for now it's good. Let's remove zero weights. Then we could also at the Warcraft 3 oh, that was wrong. Right, doesn't matter. Then we have to change skin color to Warcraft 3. So no. Okay, so let's see. Something's wrong. Something's went wrong. Okay. Oh, that's why. Okay, I deleted the last one here. Then remove zero weights again. Remove zero weights, and then change to Warcraft 3. So that's it. So perfect. This should be alright, I guess. And we're selecting everything and undo it. So we've done with the skinning part, we've done with the boning part. Next thing is the animation itself. So what I like to do all the time is I like to select only the cape bones here, and I like to select, of course, the full mesh should be active, that we can see what we do, and we also deactivate edge faces, and we look with the Neodex manager through every animation here, starting with this one. What we have to fix first is always, seems like sometimes the poses of the first model here, that we can move it up here. So okay, this finger bones, the finger bones are quite alright. Okay, so we move this one here up, and we can let it like this, but we can also move it up, and then we're gonna open up our cape tool here. So the only thing which I've been using is this function here and this one. The left function is for making it softer. If you're making the value lower, it's getting softer. If you're making the value bigger, it's getting stiffer, the cape. So, and that's why I like to make it a little bit stiffer right now. And what we like to select is the hair bone tool, and then make it stiffer. And this function here is if the animation should loop or not. If it's set to 0, it's looping. It's not looping, and if it's set to 1 or higher, it starts to that the cape animation is looping. So what I'm gonna selecting the hair bone tool right now, and then I'm going to use this button here to apply the changes. And as you can see, it it starts to work. And what I don't like is that it goes through the body, but it's not a big deal because we're setting up a bone here and the helper to help us fixing this. So the second bone has the cape animations, but the first bone of the chain does not. So we can take a look and see that it goes through here, and we change it by rotating the cape outside. And as you can see, it will change here the whole animation process, and we're gonna take a look at through the whole animation that it start to not go through the mesh anymore, and then it should be fine. So the cape animation is, the first hair animation is done, and let's do the same for our cape here. But I don't like that it's using the first bone. I like to use the second bone here. That's why we created cape 6 here. And let's see. So that looks quite alright here. Not going through anything. That's good. So we have our first animation done. As you can see, it will bug sometimes in this view here. Maybe you will see it later when it's set to real time. That's why when it starts to flickering, then we change it, or you can change all the time from real time and disable it. It will go faster, the animation, but the cape animation will be fluid. So then we go to the next animation, attack 2. And the first thing what I notice is the hair bone again. So I'm gonna rotate it up here to this point. So it's not inside the body anymore, and then we're gonna take a look. Looks quite alright. Then we're gonna select our hair bone. Hair bone. I'm gonna move this one here, there, this one here. So hair bone tool. Gonna add it here. So let's see. It goes like this. So it goes here through the head. So we're gonna undo it, and we're gonna change it. Now we have two ways of fixing this. First would be, instead of selecting the second bone here, which we're always selecting, we're selecting the next bone in the chain, so it will change a little bit. Or the other thing would be making the animation, the stiffness a little bit higher. So as you can see, I choose this option, and we have to fix here a little bit more. Like we're gonna selecting this part and moving it there, so it will move, and then it start to go in here, through here. We're gonna move it back a little bit, so, and it goes through here, and we're gonna move it to this point here. So it goes here through, so okay. And now you can see the cape animation looks kind of weird, and we can fix it by selecting the bone, one of the bones here under it, and we're gonna let it run a second time. So basically we changed our oh, that's not looking good as much because there it's going through. So let's move it up here. So selecting it a second time, but I think a little bit lower. So, and then we let it run through a second time, and then it should be moving really good and correctly. So, and then we're gonna make the same thing for our cape. Let's select cape 6 again, and then let it run through one time. Let's see. So we encounter an interesting bug here. This is what I want to show you, that the cape now is gone because we're using the cape tool, and there is two ways to fix it. First, we're gonna undo. First one would be, which I'm trying always, is selecting the whole cape here, which is missing, deleting all the keys in it, so, and then let it run a second time. So this worked, but sometimes this method is not working. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna undo it, and then instead of selecting, you can try it 2 or 3 times to deleting the bones, but sometimes it does not work. And then the second method is we're gonna undo it, and then we're gonna selecting this bone instead of this one here and run it through. And most of the time it should work. So let's see. As you can see, it goes through here, and we have now two ways of fixing it. We could fixing it by rotating it around, but it does not help that much. Or we're gonna select our box here and move the box here to the left. And as you can see, it's not bugging anymore because we are able to move the box to the left side. And this is the flickering which I told you about the bug here. And this is not affecting the export in any way. It's the bug in 3ds Max. That's why I'm disable real time, or we can go through manually and take a look. So this animation is done. Let's go to the next one here. We could start with cape 6 because it's going faster. So like this. Then we're going to take a look at the animations here, and we have to rotate it a little bit out here to this point. So better. Okay, so perfect. Let's select the hair bone, but this time I don't want to select I want to select the second bone here, or the third bone in that case, and run it through. Let's see what's happening. So we need to fix it here. Let's take the beginning part, move it down and down like this. So moving it up here, moving it up there. So here it goes through the arm. Let's move it to the left. Or does it go through the arm? Yeah, a little bit. So like this. So and move it up here a little bit. So let's see if we have to fix it. No, I think it's not worth it to run it a second time. And now go on. I will stop the video right now and will be back when I've done everything to see how we convert it. So I'm back, where I have like 6 animations left, and I want to do them together with you because they are stand animations and walk animations. First we're gonna select the cape here because it goes inside the body here, and gonna paste the key by selecting shift and moving it to the right. And then I like to make always a little bit of a cool wind animation here, so I'm gonna selecting both first bones from the cape, and then I'm gonna go to the timeline here at like the first quarter, and then I'm gonna move it to the left here, down and to the left like this, and then I'm gonna move it to the right and to the inside here like this, and then I'm also gonna move it outside and this again like this. So and then I'm gonna selecting the cape bone tool, and I change the value to, let's say, 3 and to 1, so it will loop and it will look like this. Let's see again if it looks good or is it bad. I think it's a little bit too much, so we're gonna move the cape a little bit, rotate it a little bit down, so that means instead of it going, so here it goes in, it goes out, and here it goes too much out. Move it in, and so let's see, let's try it again. Cape bone tool, and oh no, now it's better. So, and now we have to fix the inside here that it does not go through. So we can now select the point helper if we want, and we have two options. We move it at this place, or we're gonna rotate it a little bit like this and rotate it out here. So, and I think it's also a good idea to move it a little bit out here. So good. So that's good. What we also can do now is selecting this part here again and let it run a second time, that it get the movement in. So okay, that's good. And then we're gonna selecting the hair bone here, doing the same here as well. We're going out at this point here, then we're going in, oh, rotate to the wrong side, so like this and this, and then we're gonna copy this one and paste it here. So, and selecting this one, free, and so that's it. We made in our stand animation here. Then we could do the same for this one here. This, oh, one sec. So let's select all three bones together. So I'm moving it out, back, moving it into the right, and copying this one and selecting, oh, that's the wrong, doesn't matter, this one, this one here, these three, and we're gonna run the tool. Let's see. So, okay, that's good. So, and then we're gonna have the walk animation. Basically, we can do just selecting this bone and move it up here. This one here, rotate it up like this. Selecting, drag and drop. So, and then we're gonna select the hair bone here, the cape bones here, and let it run through. As you can see, the hair goes up and I don't like this, so I'm gonna take the hair and move it down like this and copying and pasting it there, and it should look way better. Now something's wrong here. Something's wrong here. Okay, let's, so it's better now. Nope, it's not looping for some reason. Why is it not looping? Is it this one here? Why it's not looping? Nope. Why is it not looping? Let's move this one up and let's run it a second time. So with more. Now it's better. Now it seems like it's fixed. So, okay, let's go to the next walk here. Let's do the same here. So moving this one a little bit up. Selecting the hairbone tool, this one here, and run it through. So this one is too high again. I would like to move it down here. So, okay, so let's see. Looking good. Let's go to the next walk. Let's see if I have to do this. So let's selecting these and let's try to run it. Let's see what happens if it goes up the way we need it. Yes, it goes up the way we need it. So we doesn't even have to move it up anymore. So, and then let's go to the next walk and do the same again. So, okay, that's it. The model is basically done. The only thing what we have to do now is exporting, because I know that I moved bones around, or better say I moved some things around here and there, but the thing is, because of the we're using the point helper or the dummy box in that case, we don't have to worry anything about the exporting, because Neodex supports the dummies by exporting but not the bones moving around. That means we just export it here. So finish. So, and what we can do also at the same time is open up Ritera's Model Studio right now. Ritera's Model Studio, So it's done exporting. Nope, I don't like to see the bugs. Let's wait for the Reteras Model Studio. Then we like to open the model one time here. Downloads. Open the model one time. Save it real quick, and now we can take a look here in Magos, or we could also take a look in MDLYs. Where is it? It's here. I open it, finish here. So, and take a look at our cape animation, what we've done. So, So I didn't make much special things out of it, but I think for showcasing right now what the tool can do and how fast you can achieve it, I think I needed like 1.5 hours or maybe 1.75 hours for finishing this model here. And yeah, the results are quite alright. I know it could be better here and there, but for showcasing I think it should be enough right now. And I hope when you're doing it that you're having fun adding cape animations to your model. So if you have any question, you can write it down in the comments below. You can find all tools except the Neodex right now on my server or Hive workshop, because I have some things still planned for it and have to update it. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it will help you, and I will see you soon the next time. Bye bye.